The day before my wedding, I sat across from my future mother-in-law at her dining table in Brooklyn, surrounded by the smell of osso buco and old judgments. She leaned toward her husband and said something in Italian, soft but sharp, like a knife wrapped in silk. They both laughed, their eyes sliding toward me with that look, the one that says, "She doesn't belong here." She thought I couldn't understand. She thought she was safe behind her language, her heritage, her bloodline. But what Ludmila Sergeyevna didn't know was that I'd spent 2 years in Rome on a research grant. I spoke Italian like a Florentine, not like a tourist. So I smiled, gently took her hand, and answered her in flawless Italian. "Don't worry, I'm not after your money. I can take care of myself." Her face went white. That was just the beginning. Let me back up. My name is Alina, and 24 hours before I was supposed to marry the love of my life, I woke up to a text that made my stomach drop. It was from Andre, my fiancé. Short, polite, dangerous. "My mom invites you to dinner tonight. She really insists. 7 p.m. Will you come?" That word. Insists. Not would love to see you or hopes you can make it. Insists. Like I was being summoned to court, not a family meal. I stared at my phone, sitting in our small apartment in Queens, surrounded by wedding chaos, bouquet pickup, dry cleaning, seating cards, and now this. Andrei's mother, Ludmila Sergeyevna, had never warmed to me, not once in the year we'd been together. Every holiday dinner, every Sunday visit, she'd looked at me like I was a stray cat her son dragged home. Her smiles were thin, her questions were traps. "Where's your family from? What does your father do? Do you cook? Can you sew?" She was old-school Italian-American, the kind of woman who believed daughters-in-law should earn their place through servitude and silence. I wasn't that kind of woman. I called my best friend Marina while folding napkins for the reception. "She wants me there tonight," I said. "The night before my wedding." Marina didn't hesitate. "It's a power move. She's testing you. Stay calm, don't prove anything. Just survive it." "I'm not scared of her," I said. "I know," Marina replied. "That's what scares her." I hung up and stared at my laptop. There was an email sitting in my inbox, unopened for 3 days. The subject line read, "Offer, Senior Project Lead, Milan office." I'd passed the final interview 2 weeks ago. International firm, 1-year contract, full relocation package, 6 months of rent covered. The kind of opportunity that doesn't come twice. I hadn't told Andre yet. I was waiting until after the wedding, after the chaos settled, after we had time to breathe. But sitting there, staring at that dinner invitation, I realized something. Tonight wasn't just about surviving Ludmila. It was about showing her exactly who she was dealing with. I chose a simple navy dress. Low bun, minimal jewelry. I didn't need armor. I had something better. I had the truth. I arrived at their brownstone in Bay Ridge at exactly 7 p.m. Andre's father opened the door, tall and kind, with tired eyes that had seen too many battles he never chose to fight. He smiled gently and led me into the living room where Ludmila waited like a queen on her throne. She wore a pristine light blue blouse, her hair perfectly styled, a gold pendant at her throat. Her smile was calculated, cold. "Alina? Hello?" she said, her accent thick with old country pride. "You look so delicate. Aren't you cold in that dress?" It wasn't a question. It was a judgment. "Good evening," I replied evenly. "Thank you for inviting me." Andre appeared from the kitchen carrying a salad bowl, his face lighting up when he saw me. That smile, genuine and warm, was the only reason I was here. We sat at the table, and the interrogation began disguised as dinner conversation. The tablecloth gleamed. Thin slices of prosciutto, homemade pasta, a bowl of Sicilian olives. Everything perfect, everything a test. "So Alina," Ludmila began, dabbing her mouth with a cloth napkin. "After the wedding, where will you live?" "Andre's apartment is small." "We'll manage," I said. "And children? You want children?" "Yes. A woman your age should think about these things." Andre shifted uncomfortably. His father asked about my favorite book, trying to steer us toward safer ground. We talked about poetry. Andre shared a childhood story about stealing cannoli from the bakery. The tension eased slightly, but it never disappeared. It hung in the air like smoke. By dessert, Andre stepped onto the balcony to take a call from our wedding coordinator. His father excused himself to make tea, and just like that, I was alone with Ludmila. She leaned toward her husband when he returned with the teapot and said something in Italian, her voice low but clear, dripping with amusement. Her husband chuckled, both of them glancing at me like I was furniture, like I was nothing. I caught enough of it. She'd said, at least she's pretty. That's something. Even if she brings nothing else to the table. They laughed together, small, dismissive, cruel. My hands didn't shake. My face didn't flush. I'd been underestimated my entire life. By professors. By bosses. By people who thought a quiet woman was a weak woman. But I'd learned something in Rome. Something more valuable than language. I learned that respect isn't given. It's taken. I stood slowly, walked around the table, and gently placed my hand over Ludmila's. She looked up, confused. I smiled, leaned close, and spoke in clear, effortless Italian. I understood every word. You're worrying for nothing. I don't need your money or your approval. I know how to provide for myself and the people I love. But thank you for the dinner. It was very revealing. Her face drained of color. Her mouth opened, then closed. Her husband's teacup froze halfway to his lips. Andre walked back in. The room was silent as a graveyard. The rest of the evening passed in stiff politeness. Ludmila said the obligatory words about tomorrow being a big day, about needing rest. Her voice was steady, but her eyes were different now. Cautious. Almost afraid. Outside, the November air bit at my skin as I walked to the subway. I didn't feel victorious. I felt clear. I'd drawn a line. And there was no going back. My phone buzzed. Andre, you're amazing. I saw something happened. Tell me tomorrow. I texted back. Tonight, just sleep. But I couldn't sleep. I sat at my kitchen table at midnight, staring at that email from Milan. The offer was extraordinary. Senior project lead. International development team. 12-month contract with option to extend. Full salary, benefits, and half a year of housing covered in one of the most beautiful cities in Europe. Response deadline, 3 days. I thought about Andre. We'd been together a year. He was kind, hardworking, loyal. But he was also tangled in his mother's web, unable to cut the strings without feeling like he was betraying his blood. He worked long hours as a financial consultant, rarely complained, kept his promises. He loved me. I knew that. But sometimes love isn't enough when you can't choose it over obligation. I imagined us in Milan, morning espresso in Navigli, a small apartment with a balcony overlooking terracotta roofs, weekend trains to Lake Como, freedom from Sunday dinners filled with judgment and translation. But I also saw the risk. Andre's entire business was here. His clients, his network, his language. His mother would fight this with everything she had. And if he came with me out of guilt instead of genuine desire, we'd both end up resenting each other in a foreign city. I opened my notebook and made 2 columns. Milan, growth, independence, career, partnership on our terms. Here, familiarity, family pressure, small apartment, slow suffocation. Between them, I wrote one question. Who are we if we stay? Who are we if we go? The next morning, hours before our wedding, I called Andre. I need to see you, now. He arrived 20 minutes later, still in sweatpants, hair uncombed. I handed him the printed email. I got a job offer. I said, in Milan, 1 year. I'm not giving you an ultimatum. I'm giving you a choice. I want us to decide together. Are you ready to build something new, or do you need to stay here? I won't hide this from you, and I won't give up my career to avoid conflict with your mother. But I also won't force you onto a plane. You're an adult, so am I. Let's act like it. Andre read the letter twice. His hands were shaking. Finally, he looked up. I'll go, he said. Not because I'm running from her. Because I'm choosing you. I'm choosing us. I can transfer some clients remotely. I'll figure out the rest. My mom will hate it. She'll say I'm abandoning the family. But I'm not a child anymore. And I'm done letting her guilt control my life. He kissed my forehead. And what you said to her last night. Perfect. No blood. Just truth. We got married 4 hours later. The wedding was beautiful. The reception warm. But underneath the laughter and champagne toasts, Ludmila's eyes followed us like a hawk. At dessert, she pulled Andre aside. I watched from across the room as she spoke urgently, her hands gripping his arms. He listened, nodded, but didn't agree. When he returned, his jaw was tight. She knows about Milan, he said quietly. She called it a betrayal. Said, I'm throwing away everything for your career. I told her I'm not throwing anything away. I'm building something new. 2 weeks later, we boarded a flight to Italy. Ludmila didn't come to the airport. Only Andre's father showed up, hugging us both tightly. Live your life, he whispered. Don't waste it on someone else's fear. Milan welcomed us with golden autumn light and the hum of trams. Our apartment was small but ours. I started work immediately, leading a team of developers from 4 countries. Andre transitioned 3 clients to remote work and started building a new consulting base. It wasn't easy. Some nights he came home exhausted, questioning everything. But we talked. We didn't hide behind silence or resentment. Ludmila stayed cold for months, short texts, no calls. Then, slowly, cracks appeared. A message asking about the weather. A photo of Andre's father attempting to cook. And one day, a 2-page handwritten letter in careful English. She apologized for the dinner, for the comment, for trying to control what she should have trusted. At Christmas we flew home. The brownstone smelled like oranges and cinnamon. Ludmila watched us closely, searching for signs of failure. Instead, she saw a married couple who worked, laughed, and chose each other daily. In the kitchen, she poured tea with shaking hands and said in broken Italian, I'm still learning. I want to speak your language too. I smiled. It was better than any apology. In spring, I took a pregnancy test in our Milan bathroom. 2 lines. Andre cried. When we told his parents over video call, Ludmila covered her mouth, tears streaming. Come home for New Year's, she whispered. I'll knit little socks, and I promise, no more battles, just family. The weight I'd carried since that dinner finally lifted. Respect isn't inherited. It's earned. And sometimes, it takes an ocean between you to finally build a bridge. If this story hit home for you, drop a comment below about a time you had to stand up for yourself with family. And if you want more real-life drama and stories about love, boundaries and second chances, hit that subscribe button. You won't regret it.